Hello and welcome to Froch on Fighting with me, Carl the Cobra Froch, MBE, former four-time world super middleweight champion and now a Hall of Famer. Is that too long?
You're going to carry this on forever, aren't you?
Obviously. Leave it in.
So the main subject at the moment in boxing is what's happening in the heavyweight scene.
That's right, yeah. I mean, namely, just recently, even this morning, I saw an interview with Whyte on TalkSport and now Anthony Joshua was supposed to be rematching Dillian Whyte. When I say rematch, they had one fight in the amateurs. Dillian Whyte won that one. It does count. It's a boxing match, and Dillian Whyte beat AJ. In the rematch, in the professional rankings, their first fight as a professional, obviously Anthony Joshua won that fight. It was a great fight. Dillian Whyte clipped AJ with a hook, and then AJ managed to get the finish and drop him and win that fight. But I think it was TKO or KO, however that gets registered. AJ won by knockout, and it was a great win. And they've both had their careers. They've both been beat since, Anthony Joshua's career, Dillian Whyte's career. You're not on this boxing channel for me to inform you on their history. But now they're supposed to be fighting again in what would be a decider. 1-0 for Dillian Whyte in the amateurs, 1-0 for AJ in the pros, and this could be the decider. So it's a fight that we want to see, but Anthony Joshua's team, Eddie Hearn, seems to be delaying things. And I think it's August 12th or something like that. If that's the case, there's not long for this fight to happen. And now, all of a sudden, the latest revelation is that Eddie Hearn or Anthony Joshua, the team Joshua, want a rematch clause in that fight. I don't see a need for a rematch clause. This is a straight fight. It's not for a world title. There's no marbles on the line, but there's a lot at stake because Anthony Joshua is supposed to be going over to Saudi Arabia in this big tournament, which involves Usyk, Fury, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Now, Anthony Joshua to fight somebody like Dillian Whyte, for me, is a massive risk. I think it's a fight he should take, and I think it's a fight, if he can go in there confident and win, if he can go in there and win, that will set him up beautifully for the Saudi Arabia straight semi-final tournament, the big money fight. That's the golden goose, the big money in Saudi. That's where the sights are set on, especially for Matchroom Sport and Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, because that's where the big money is. I mean, me personally, I feel like they might be trying to cash out with AJ. And it sounds bad, but he's been at the top. He's been beat, lost to Ruiz. He's coming off back-to-back defeats with Alexander Usyk. I know he had that win against Jermaine Franklin, but he didn't do a great deal with Franklin. So the fight with Whyte is great in terms of if he's confident and he can get the win against Whyte, straight out to Saudi Arabia, jump in with Deontay Wilder. You never know what would happen with that, coming off a great win if he could perform against Dillian Whyte and get a great win. But obviously Dillian Whyte's got different ideas. I understand why Dillian Whyte's pissed off. He's being told now, I want a rematch clause. I said earlier, why do we need a rematch clause? It's not a world title fight. It's a straight fight. Winner goes on and does bigger and better things, in my opinion. That's how it should be. When I boxed Lucian Bute, for example, there was a world title at stake, an IBF world title. Lucian Bute wanted a rematch. He deserved the rematch clause. He was travelling away from home. He was the champion. And he's fighting me in Nottingham, my home city. So the odds in that sense are stacked against him. So rematch clause would be standard rematch clause. But for just a straight matchup, AJ Whyte, which is a rematch, this will be their third fight, once amateur, once pro, that doesn't need a rematch clause. That tells me that they don't really want the fight. And if they do want the fight, they know it's risky and they're worried that AJ might lose. So then that puts him in a position where he's got to fight him again. From Whyte's point of view, the rematch clause is there and he beats AJ. He's got to then wait another 6, 7, 8 months whenever AJ can be bothered to get ready for the rematch. And then he's got to fight him again. If he goes in there and beats AJ, he wants to move on with bigger and better things. Maybe he'll get the spot in Saudi Arabia and make 50 million quid. And if he beats AJ, he deserves it. He deserves to take his space. So it's annoying. It's frustrating. It's heavyweight boxing. It's, I don't know, what can I say? It just tells me that Anthony Joshua probably isn't that confident. But let me tell you something. If he goes out to Saudi Arabia and doesn't fight Dillian Whyte and goes straight to Saudi and fights Deontay Wilder on the back of a Jermaine Franklin little boxing session, little keep out of the way, don't get involved, don't get hit with anything, then he's going to go out to Saudi Arabia, jump in the ring with Deontay Wilder and get El Spar code in one round, like I said before. He will get knocked out in one round by Deontay Wilder if he thinks he can jump straight in there with him in his next fight, following on from the Franklin match. I feel sorry for Dillian Whyte. He didn't box. He boxed Franklin in, I think it was November. So he's getting on for 5-6 months now, inactivity. AJ fought Franklin in April, so he's kind of not in any rush to fight. He probably could wait it out till Saudi. But as boxing fans, we want to see AJ Whyte getting it on and the winner going for the Golden Goose in Saudi. I did something quite interesting I want to share with you. I went on to BoxRec, top 25 ranked heavyweights in the world, and there are no scheduled bouts in the top 25. What's going off? There's one heavyweight, Jared Anderson. He's from America, 23 years old, 14 fights, 14 knockouts, and he's fighting Charles Martin next. Quite an interesting fight. And people like him, if you beat Charles Martin, that's the guy who Anthony Joshua beat for his first world title. If he can win this fight, Anderson, he'll be tapping on the door for a world title. He'll want a big name. He'll want a scalp maybe. So it won't be long before he's looking at names like Anthony Joshua and I don't know, maybe looking ahead. Usyk, Fury, Dillian Whyte, Deontay Wilder. But you know, AJ's got to get a move on and decide what he's doing with this Whyte fight and then get himself to Saudi because the next generation of heavyweights will be coming through. So it's just interesting. On a more positive note, one fight that is happening that we can get excited about is Errol Spence, Terrance Crawford. Spence is 33, I think Crawford's 35 years old. Crawford's had 39 fights. Errol Spence has had about 33 fights. Both got a high knockout ratio. Both fought Sean Porter. I think Crawford had a split decision. No, Crawford knocked him out about 10 or 11 rounds. And Errol Spence got a split decision win. But that's against Sean Porter, who's a great fighter. They're both knocked out Kell Brook as well. But anyway, they're finally getting it on. And I don't think it's too late. Like the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight that happened too late, or Amir Khan, Kell Brook, just too late. They're both now pretty much in their prime. Maybe Crawford's a little bit past 35 years old. He's had 39 fights, so he's a bit older and wiser. But what a great fight. Something to celebrate, something to look forward to. I might even jet over to Vegas and watch that one, if I'm allowed.
Who do you think will win?
I'm not going to do a prediction, but if you're going to chuck me under the bus with that one, who wins? Let me think. I like the older, wiser Terrance Crawford. Errol Spence is a fantastic, superb talent, great fighter. Terrance Crawford is equally the same as what I've just said, but he's just a bit older and a bit wiser. And when he needs to, he's been in a couple of fights where his cornerman has said, "You're losing," and he's not losing. He's gone out there and then just pulled it out of the bag and done what he has to do. He can step it up a level, a little bit similar to Alexander Usyk in the heavyweight. If he has a bad round, or if his cornerman says to him, "Listen, this is a bit of a slow start," like against Bellew. It was at a slow start and Bellew was boxing and moving and being shot. He then just steps on the gas. And Terrance Crawford, I think, has got just that little bit of extra gear and that is a little bit more special. So yeah, I'd say Crawford beats Spence, but it really is a 49-51% fight. Nothing in it. But it's a great one. Really looking forward to it. So that's it for another episode of Froch on Fighting. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe and like button and share it with people who you think might be interested in listening to the Cobra. Sorry we didn't have Rachel in Vision this week. No eye candy for you, unless you like my silver wings. I do need a haircut, actually. But yeah, she's not feeling too well. She's got a bit of...
I've got hay fever.
Bit of hay fever. But we'll be back on it next week. But
we love your questions, by the way, so keep getting those in.
Absolutely, yeah. Keep sending the questions. We'll go through them. And yeah, this is Froch on Fighting. Until next week.